Okay, we'll see if it works this time. I don't know.
Well, I see it up there now, but
So far,
what happened? I mean, why would it
I
shut
I
us
don't
off?
know what happened. It might have had something to do with I copied the previous studio and just edited the dates and rescheduled it and so on and so forth.
That's
And
kind of stupid.
so I don't know. It's touchy. If you don't do things right,
Yeah, sounds like a touchy little bitch.
you know. So anyway, we're gonna try this again and see how long we last. So far, we've lasted longer than the last time. Um, but I was asking you, did you ever watch that Street Fighter movie that they made back in
I seen
late
it.
80s or
Um,
90s?
Jean Claude Van Damme's in it.
Right, right. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I have seen it. Yes. What about it?
Well, because it was a big flop, according to Hollywood, and it wasn't the greatest movie based on a video game. Um, they're trying again. All right, with the Street Fighter movie. And they're taking it. I know you don't know who some of these people are, but they are taking two characters. One apparently Akuma. He was uh, in the later Street Fighter games.
Akuma.
Yeah, Akuma.
Okay.
Okay, that's going to be played by Roman Reigns, and then um, they're talking about, besides Reigns, Jason Momoa, and I can't pronounce these other two last names. There's a couple of characters I have no clue who those are, but there's also rumor that um, Braun Strowman's being looked at for one of the characters.
Okay.
So this time they're basically gonna make it a all-star cast, and definitely one of them will be a wrestler. Hi, Ashley. So one of them's going to be a wrestler, possibly two of them, but it looks like it's going to be an all-star cast this time. Plus, with the effects of Hollywood that they can do now compared to 30 years ago, a lot different. So I would expect a lot from the new Street Fighter movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's going to be a new one, apparently, from what I was reading. I mean, it's still, saying, proving what I've always said. Hollywood
Hollywood has no
has no
imagination.
imagination, right? You know, I mean, you know, they take some of these things and that shouldn't be remade at all because the main character was so well portrayed by, an actor that got well known for that role, and then he passes away or something. They make another movie or remake or reboot, and the guy sucks. I actually watched one, and the guy kind of sucked as Candyman. You know, I mean, Tony Todd made that role so iconic. It's like Tim Curry. Pennywise.
Pennywise.
Right. You know, there's just some roles that, it's like Johnny Depp. If it wasn't for Amber Heard, there'd still be more of those Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
There might be, actually.
And
Because
Johnny,
Disney has realized they fucked up with that one.
yeah, but if they, you know, make more and they don't bring Jack Sparrow back as Johnny Depp,
Not Johnny Depp
Johnny
back
Depp
as
back
Jack
as Jack
Sparrow.
Sparrow, that's going to be another mistake because he made that role, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't, it's like, yeah, he made that role. It shouldn't be done without him.
Yeah, you can't replace the guy.
Well, no, that's not true. They can now because of AI technology. I mean, you got to realize their AI technology is a lot greater than what the public has access to.
Yeah.
They took that. What was that show? I don't watch it. I tried once, but I'm gonna watch the movie. The Karate Kid. No, the Karate Kid Legends. That actually looks kind of interesting. It's coming out, or it's just out in theaters or whatever. It's got Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm feeling pretty good, Kate. How are you?
Hi, Kate. I haven't found you a Nicolas Cage picture yet. I think you're the one that doesn't like him, right?
Yep. Hi, Tom. How's it going? Hi, Jeremy. But now I forgot what I was saying. I got distracted and sidetracked. Oh, the Karate Kid movie. That looked really good. But the Cobra Kai thing, I couldn't get into. That thing they made into a series on Netflix called Cobra Kai.
I've heard of it. Yes. I
But
never got to see it.
I tried watching like the first two or three, and I couldn't get into it. But I heard that with the AI technology, they brought Mr. Miyagi back from the dead for a couple episodes. Using however they did it, you know.
Who'd they bring back?
Mr. Miyagi,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, because Cobra Kai came out and started after what was his name, Pat Morticia or more whatever, passed away.
Yeah.
I mean, they played, they, how they like paid tribute to some of them, like Paul Walker, for example. You know, died during
Well,
the filming
hang on now.
Fast and Furious.
Paul Walker has a twin brother, an
Right, right.
identical twin brother,
Yeah, I know.
who is a
Finished the movie.
stuntman.
Yeah, he also finished the movie after
Yes.
Paul Walker died. But in those later episodes, where it gets, you know, they tend to mention Brian. You don't see Paul Walker or his brother or anything, but they mention his name, so they constantly paid tribute to him throughout the movies.
Mm-hmm.
the later ones. His sister shows up and Dom goes, "Oh, how's Brian doing?" And my nephew, that kind of shit. It's kind of like they constantly do that. Well, they did that with Mr. Miyagi from the dead using the AI technology. And I didn't see those episodes either. It just goes to show they got no imagination.
True.
And they've made some major fuck ups over the years. I mean, with that whole thing on TV, all right, it started. It started with the Arrow universe, right? That and then they started, and then Flash came out, and then they had crossovers and stuff. Well, see,
Mm-hmm.
they can't go back anymore, and they screwed it up. They should have done that starting when they did Smallville. You know, yeah, you could have done that with Smallville with the Arrow, and then kept going with it. Nope, they fucked that up. And then of course, what's her name got arrested and behind bars? The one that played Chloe in Smallville.
I
Yeah.
never seen. I never did watch Smallville, so I don't know.
Well, Smallville was kind of cool. I mean, it didn't mention. I mean, it kind of did had ties with the Arrow franchise towards the end in like season 10, but it was like Chloe was married to the Green Arrow, and the whole Superman thing was her reading a comic book to her kid. That's how they ended it. And then they just
Interesting.
started because they took the same actor that was playing Arrow and that played Arrow in Smallville, and just went off. So it's like you didn't they didn't even leave it open to continue the story. It's just like it ended there. You know. So you saw this whole story thing like through the kid's eyes or whatever, you know, because and the whole time she
Mm-hmm.
was reading a comic book. And then the Arrow uh, series began shortly thereafter, but it had the same actor playing Arrow. And Tom Wellings was a great Superman in that, and Clark. And they actually casted that pretty well. It's like that's like they did that right in a way, but they didn't leave it open to be able to create more, crossovers and so on and so forth. So they kind of fucked it up and did it all wrong.
Yeah, but that's what they're good at doing.
But it's
That's
I
what
mean,
Hollywood's good at doing is fucking things
Smallville was
up
a
and
good,
doing
but
things wrong.
Smallville was still a good series. It was really good because you watched him grow up in high school. It was a whole different side. So you watched him go through the 4 years of high school and the college stuff. And he never donned the suit until like the last season. You finally saw the suit type thing. Um, but it it wasn't the worst thing I saw, because the worst thing I saw was that Gotham.
Oh, dude, that you want to talk about fucking a series up? What the hell was that all about?
I mean, anybody knows that that was, I mean, even though Smallville was like from a different perspective and stuff, a lot of it stuck with the original storyline, you know,
Yeah, well, Gotham
in a
never.
way. I mean, it you know, eh, but with the Gotham thing, man, everything was fucked up from what I remember from the comics, you know. And Penguin being a skinny little fucker,
Hmm.
you know, that ain't right either. I mean, you had two characters that really did good. Burgess Meredith in the original Penguin from the 1960 something TV series with Adam West and Burt Ward, and then Danny DeVito playing in Tim Burton's Batman, as the Penguin.
DeVito did an awesome job as the Penguin
Yeah,
in Burton's Batman.
and I actually think that they took their inspiration from the 1960 TV, took some of that inspiration because, you know,
Hmm.
I haven't watched that series yet. I didn't know they made a series. Did you know they made a Harley Quinn series?
The cartoon, yeah.
Oh, as a cartoon?
Yeah, the cartoon. It's already like fifth season or something like that. I've been watching it.
Oh, you've
It's
been
funny
watching
as it's funny as hell too. It's on HBO. You got access to fucking HBO.
it? Not in here, I don't. I have
Eh,
to sit out there.
whatever.
I don't have control of that TV out
It's
there after
not a
12 o'clock.
weird series, Ashley. It's actually pretty good. It's funny. Harley and Poison Ivy are a couple.
Yeah,
In the first season, Joker and Harley break up. Absolutely break up. She realizes he's a fucking dick, and she doesn't want to have anything to do with him anymore. Lex Luthor is an absolute asshole, and he doesn't give a shit about any of the the League of Doom or whatever the fuck. All he wants to do is be the king of the world, pretty much.
that sounds about right.
And
Because,
Harley
you know,
and Harley hooks up with Poison Ivy. Her and Poison Ivy become a couple.
okay,
So
maybe I will have to check this out.
I don't know where your it's a weird series comes from. It's actually pretty damn good. And it's like I said, it's funny. There are parts of it that are just hilarious. And Kaylee Kuko does the voice for Harley Quinn.
Really? I
Yes,
know who she is.
yes. Penny from um I can't even think of it now. Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, and she also did those travel commercials with Shatner for
That's
that.
not
Like,
Kuko.
yeah, it was.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it
That wasn't
was.
that. No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was. Same person. I know who she is. She was also in
Those
the
travel
Charmed.
commercials. She did not. She was not the one that did the travel commercials with Shatner.
Look it up. I'll be right back.
No.
Too
Where are
bad.
you going? You can't go anywhere. You're the host of this bitch. Get over here, you slut. What the fuck? He went and left me. Look at that shit. What about the fucking? What about Hank? I think his name is Hank. No, Frank. What about Frank? Huh? The fucking plant. What do you mean the fucking plant? What about Frank? I'm gonna sit here and argue with you now. Frank was funny. Frank was cool. I'm gonna get rude. What the hell is his problem? Why did he leave? He needs to be removed. I need to remove him. There, he's gone. I got rid of him. I'm gonna ban him from coming back. Whatever.
Tanya got home and I had to go get something.
Just because you left your pecker in the drawer for her doesn't mean you had to
Oh,
go pick it up.
whatever. You know, I've got enough problems as it is with this hand not healing properly. Mm. So much I have to struggle with every day. Mm. So,
Yeah,
do you
I'm
know
sorry.
if you're gonna go? Do you know if you're gonna go to Chicago or not?
I don't know. Depends on what part down there it's in.
About a 3-hour drive for Tanya and I.
Then you're talking it's on the fucking south end of Chicago. If it's 3 hours for you, dude, I go down there in a straight truck every Tuesday, and I have to go over off of what is that? The 290.
Well,
Yeah, the 290. And I gotta go down. I gotta go downtown area there, and it only takes me 2.5 hours. So if you're in that's out of Madison. So if you're running 3 hours down, that must be on the south end. Yeah, the deep south end of the city. Then
yeah, I'm looking to see exactly if I can figure out where that. Showing all these other ones. Hey, you work tomorrow?
who?
You?
No,
Oh, you got tomorrow off? You should come get me and we should go to Bratfest.
Bratfest.
Yeah, the Alliant Energy
I
Center.
ain't going. I ain't going to Bratfest. I ain't going over there dealing with fucking retards.
All right, here we go. It starts at noon, and I usually plan on getting there at noon. And it's off of Joliet Road.
So it's down. It's down by Joliet area. So it's south. You go down out of here. You take the interstate down to Beloit. Take the Jane Addams in. When you get to the 290 interchange, take 290 and at the split where it goes
It's
to
in
Juliet or if
Countryside,
it goes.
Illinois.
Mm-hmm. When you're at the split, when you're at the split for where the 290 cuts off and goes back down towards the lake, And the other one goes up to Juliet. I think it's 364 or something like that. You stay on that one, you go towards Juliet. That's how you get there.
Huh?
Huh?
Well,
Huh?
What, you
That's-
gonna stand going towards Juliet?
Huh?
I was telling him where the convention was.
Oh.
You know, asking him if he was going to be there or not. You know,
I don't know.
did your daughter get a hold of you?
I was at the doctor's. I wasn't gonna answer my damn phone.
Well, then you better go call her. Oh, wait. You want this phone or your phone? Okay. Anyway.
Exit
So-
420, High Street, Mary Jane Lane.
I don't know. We take kind of a scenic route.
You take the scenic route, huh?
Yeah, we set the GPS and take scenic routes. We've been down there 2 years in a row now. This will be our third year there.
Cool.
So we've gone down to Chicago at least once every year for the
Chicago.
past 3 years.
And that's what it is. Chicago.
Well, you would have had fun if you could have, I know you go to work early sometimes on Sunday, but if you would have went to that one place, we were
Actually, I work all day Sunday now.
we were down that one weekend for that paranormal greet and meet thing. It was on Archer Avenue. So the time we were down there with Dale Kazmarek, and learned all about Resurrection Mary, visited all the cemeteries like Bachelor's Grove, and I can't remember the other one right offhand. But anyway, we were at Chet's Bar and Lounge. That's where I got my T-shirt from, my Resurrection Mary T-shirt. and
Was Chet
this
there?
time, huh?
Was Chet there?
No, I don't know that. Anyway, we were down at the opposite end where Resurrection Mary's journey started before she got killed. There we were at like this bar that was used the ballroom that she was at, where she got her heart broken. That made her abruptly leave the ball and then start walking down the highway before she got hit. Used to be right across the street, and the bar we were at was there, but it was more like a speakeasy type place, and it had a brothel like most bars. It had a brothel upstairs and so on and so forth, but it had a lot of interesting history with tied in with like Al Capone and stuff, and tunnels went up and behind, and I can't remember what they said was back there.
Incinerator.
Oh, there was an incinerator back there. So they take the bodies through the tunnel, mafia, and up into the incinerators, and the other tunnel went across the road, under Archer Avenue, and over to where the ballroom, the ballroom that was over there. Very interesting history. Learned a lot that night, and when we got the tour of the place, I'm like sitting there thinking to myself, okay, you've got at least 10, 15 people. I can't remember. There was maybe 10 people up there with us on these floors, and you're really going to try to do investigations up there. Like that's going to happen. People were up there trying with their little EVPs, and it seemed like everybody had an app on their phone, and they're trying to talk to these spirits and stuff, and it's like You realize how contaminated, you're not going to get a
Everything
clear
is.
reading because you got like 10, 15 people up there and everybody's making a little bit of noise because, you know, it's kind of late. People aren't totally steady and walking around and, talking quietly,
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff's going to get picked up, so you got to sit there when you listen back to it. You got to figure what's real, what's not real, it's like, I had the equipment with me, but it's like, nah. Thank God we didn't have to pay for the tour. They decided to give it to us for free because if it was a paid tour, 3 or 4 people up there at a time would have been enough, you know. So, but very interesting building. So I can't remember what the place was called, but I can always go back and look because, I attended the event and I know the host of the event now because I told you that day I met a real life Clarice, you know,
Yeah,
and we had an
you did
interesting
say that.
talk about Manson, um, a little bit about John Wayne Gacy. But, people were constantly coming up because her and her better half were hosting the place, hosting the event. So
Mm-hmm.
they were constantly, getting talked to. So, but they're going to be at that convention on the 7th too. And I plan on getting 3 shows out of them. I haven't told them that yet, but I want to get her on our show all by herself because I want to talk about the fact that she was an FBI
Mm-hmm.
profiler and that in and of itself is just super interesting and would take up the whole hour easy
Probably.
because of the famous people she talked to.
Has anyone ever told your wife that she's loud?
Yes, especially when she's talking to her daughters. Hold on. Close the door. But
I'm sure anybody else listening to our conversation here is probably trying to figure out what she's saying, or at least getting close to being able to hear.
she's talking to Janice. So, her and Janice in the same room
The children.
is worse. Her and Janice, and then her and Crystal, they get in the same room, and that's all you hear. You can't watch nothing, you can't listen to music or nothing, you won't hear it. And then you get the 3 of them together, and it's even worse. I bet the
Nice.
neighbors will hear those conversations when the 3 of them are here, especially when we cooked out that one day.
Hmm.
You know, because you
Yeah.
had Janice, Matthew, and Crystal, and they're all sitting there out in the driveway, sitting there talking very loudly. And I think the only reason Matthew's never that loud, but except for when he's around his sisters.
Well, he has to so he can even get a point across.
Right.
His
Get a
sister's
word in
probably out,
edgewise.
out talking.
Right. But yeah, Tanya and Crystal and yeah, they're all bad. You know.
Yeah. They're all bad. You're bad people. You're bad people. You're so
Oh,
naughty.
I got I
Mm.
because we were taking the push bar off the truck. I already told you that.
Yeah.
We took the push bar off the truck. And for those that don't know, I've got a Police Interceptor Ford Explorer. It's painted black and white, and it had the push bar. Well, we had the push bar taken off, and it's currently being painted. So anyway, we went out to Matthews, where he lives, because he's got his own 1-bedroom apartment and stuff, and it's also where he works.
Mm-hmm.
Because he works for a company that basically does sells like landscaping stuff. The stones and stuff for landscaping. So I went out there, got a real cool garage and stuff. If the house goes up for sale over there, I'm gonna actually try to get it because that would be so cool. But anyway, he's got the perfect shop. Pulled the truck right in the garage. He had that push bar off in like 5 minutes. He had all
Cool.
those. He had all those power wrenches and sockets. It was like, yeah. He had all the air. It was like the
Air compressor tools. Yeah.
tools. Yeah. He had access to all that shit, and it's like.
I have access to that at work.
So fast. He had that push bar off my truck so fast it wasn't funny.
Lava, chicken.
Having the push bar painted purple.
You must have went and seen.
No, I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to.
What?
I'll be right back.
Minecraft.
Oh,
the movie.
That's right. They made a movie about it.
Yeah, with Jack Black as Steve. I am Steve. Yeah.
They're at top of the hour. We were talking about the new Street Fighter movie.
They're doing a new Street Fighter movie?
They came out with that Street Fighter movie like 30 years ago, right?
Yeah, it was like the 90s. Easy.
Yeah, late 80s, early 90s. All right. And it bombed. It totally sucked for me.
Well, I mean, it wasn't Jean-Claude Van Damme in that thing?
But it wasn't his best movie.
No, but I mean, it wasn't bad.
It was too cartoon. Anyway, with today's special effects, and from what I heard, they're coming out with a new Street Fighter movie. You've got Roman Reigns gonna be in it, Jason Momoa, and I can't promote, but I know it's like an all-star cast, right?
Jason Momoa is gonna be that big green guy.
Yeah, Baraka. and then Braun Strowman, who got released from WWE recently, is also in talks with playing a character in that movie as well.
Well, gee, I wonder which one.
The big Russian.
Oh, what you think?
I think.
I forget his name in that game. It's been a minute since I played Street Fighter, but I did play it a lot in the arcade when it came out.
Yeah, the first one. It was great.
Like I couldn't get enough of hearing that Hadouken.
Yeah.
Simba Flame, or wait, Buddha Flame, Buddha Fire.
And it was another one like Mortal Kombat that if you got the moves down correctly and using that green guy, it was hard to beat him once you got it figured out. Because he could sit there and fly across the screen and knock his opponent on his ass.
Kind of like Raiden in
Mortal Kombat.
Where you
my son,
my
son, always after a while, he learned. He says, "I'll play Mortal Kombat with you, but you're banned from using Raiden."
I didn't really like Raiden. My go-to for the first Mortal Kombat was Scorpion, always.
Get over here!
Over here.
That's right. Get over here. But as they progressed, I had others that I liked, and I kind of shied away from Scorpion. But,
Well, you had Scorpion, you had Sub-Zero,
you
had Reptile down the road,
and Noob Saibot, which was the
two,
Shadow one.
Then you had the two robots.
Oh yeah, Cyrax and
I got all of
Forget
those.
the other
Mortal-
one. Sector.
That's
Wow, I had to go through the
that's
files.
one
up there.
video game series that I've also got all of them so far.
I
have
was
the
good up
newest
until the
one.
third one.
I
When
I
they
don't
started
have the
going
newest one.
3D, where you could like sidestep, I was like, you lost me. No. I like that in other games, but not Mortal Kombat.
It's just I got into Mortal Kombat so much that, especially when it first came out,
Oh yeah,
it was
I
one
loved
of
it.
those video games where when it first came out in the arcade and you first saw it, you had to wait in line in order to play
Yep. So then I would just go play Golden Axe for a while and then come back.
Gauntlet.
Gauntlet is all right.
Gauntlet was
Gauntlet too.
Wizard needs food badly.
the one I didn't like though was
Oh.
that
It's about to die.
what was that one that was real popular back then also I couldn't get into what was it called? Dragon's Lair?
Oh, Dragon's Lair. Yeah.
That was actually the very first video game ever released on Laserdisc.
Yeah,
It was animation style.
and they
It wasn't
also
video game.
they also had for a very short time. I don't know if it was popular anywhere else in the world, but I know for a very short time they had a couple of hologram machines.
Oh yeah.
And Dragon's Lair was the one that was on that hologram machine. But it cost like $3 to play.
But there was another one. It was like a dome that you were at, like a plexiglass dome, and you could see the holograms inside, and they were actual
Right.
actors that were filmed and stuff. And
Right.
I'm trying to think of what the hell the name of that was. I remember it, and I remember trying to play it and not doing well at it. But I didn't do well at Dragon's Lair either.
Yeah.
I got tired of wasting my money on that.
And then after Dragon's Lair comes Space Ace.
Space Ace was same thing, really.
Well, I played a lot of the
people.
racing.
Same concept, just a little bit better play.
Yeah, it was. I think the same people to put it out.
I played a
Yeah,
lot of
it was.
racing
It was the
games
same
from
people
back
that put
then.
that one out. But the concept and the game setup was very similar, but the gameplay on Space Ace was a lot better.
Let me see. Who the hell put that out?
I can't remember.
Developed by Advanced Microcomputer Systems.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's one of those ones that didn't last long.
Yeah, but the game's still out there. You can still get it.
Yeah, you could play It's actually on Steam.
Well, I get that the games
have
are
it.
still out there, but
You
With
have
your
that
big-
one on
with-
Steam?
you had those big companies that had a lot of bucks backing them that a lot of the independents didn't make it because they got bought out
Yeah.
early. I mean, you got what 3 major ones now? You've got Sony and Nintendo.
Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo.
Yeah, for
You
the
know.
Xbox.
And even Sega's gone, and they came out.
Well, that's
with-
because what Sega did. Sega actually did well with the consoles during the
Yeah,
console war.
they made one of
But
my
what
favorites.
happened? But what happened with them is they realized they were making more money and having a better return on a lot of things just to be a game manufacturer, not a console manufacturer.
Right.
So they quit trying to make their consoles to where they had the proprietary games to their consoles.
Yeah,
But they did make the last one they made was the Dreamcast, and that is
that
a
was
really
my
good
favorite.
system.
I still have a Dreamcast.
That was a very good system.
Yep, I still have
And
one.
if
I had one for a
if
little while.
Sega would have kept going with it, if they would have actually kept going with it, I think they would have been comparable to PlayStation and Xbox right now.
I never really played a fishing game until the Dreamcast came out.
That the Sega Aquarium one, or
Yeah, the one with the aquarium in it.
where you can build your own aquarium.
Right.
That one is killer. That one is absolutely.
And then didn't they
Just
make that one
perfect.
called, what was that one? A House of the Dead?
Mm.
Yes, House of the Dead. I actually had 2 light guns
I love
with
that
my
game.
with my Dreamcast. I had
So
2
did
light
I.
guns, and I was using both light guns at the same time because I was playing both players at the same
Yep.
time during that game.
I did that too.
Double fisting.
Yep.
Damn right.
I did that too.
I had one for a little while. I borrowed off of a friend of mine, and he had some games with it. But the only game I played when I had it was a game called D. I think it was called just the letter D. And it was more like a puzzle kind of game, but it was like horror related, and
Mhm.
Oh.
you
okay.
played somebody named Nora, and every once in a while you'd hear Nora, Nora, Nora. That's all I
Mhm.
remember from it. But it was,
But,
occupied
know,
my time.
Sega was also one of the first, and I think the only one where they got a game banned for a while.
I
They
think I
had
know
it
which
pulled
game you're
off.
talking about.
They
I
got
can't
it pulled
remember.
off the shelves, and they had to remake it.
Oh, it's something about sleepover.
Yeah, it was for the Sega CD. The
Night. Oh my god,
night party or
something like that.
yeah,
Because there was like a slight nip slip in it or
in a
something.
shower scene.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I know.
look
By
at the
by
fucking
means of
games now.
today's games,
Yeah,
Yeah,
but,
look at the games from today, man.
well,
you got-
especially the ones from Japan.
Yeah, in GTA 5, you can use a double-sided dildo as a weapon.
Yeah,
double
got
into
one.
dildo.
You got stuff like that in Saints Row as well.
Yeah,
Basically, you can fuck them while you suck them, right?
that's right, man.
Yeah,
Beat you
got
in the head with this
prostitutes and
thing.
hooker. You got prostitutes and shit in the GTA. All those
GTA,
games.
you have prostitutes and stuff. Yes.
Grand Theft Auto games. Because
I'm curious to see what the new one will bring.
the last one I got was GTA 5.
I've got GTA
I don't know.
5.
I don't know how many are out, but
I
got
played
that
San
with my
Andreas.
Xbox.
That was the only one I ever played. The San Andreas one, I think it is.
Well, they had GTA 5.
I've got all of
and,
them before that.
Red Dead
but-
Redemption 2 on sale through Steam that one day, and I got both of them.
Did you?
I heard Red Dead Redemption is filled with like glitches and mess ups and stuff where like a horse will just like
But the
Just
original,
fly off in the air.
original or number 2?
two.
You-
I heard
there are stories of glitching that you can cause it to glitch, but I haven't seen it yet.
Well, I don't know. I played that game fully. Well, I played it for a lot of hours, both of them. But I played them on the Xbox,
Hmm.
and I never had glitches. But I have Red Dead Redemption 2 because I caught it on sale on Steam, and I found a way to also make some money on Steam too. So
Really?
that I have, yeah.
Hmm.
It's not a lot, but if you do it every day and do it to the maximum every day, you can build up a few bucks. And
So is this through your OnlyFans or?
no, through Steam. No, you
I was
earn.
being funny. OnlyFans is
You earn things like cards and stuff like that, and there's a place on Steam on the store where you can sell your items.
Oh,
And some of your items, I noticed some of my items sold for like $1 or $2, and it's like, wow.
well, kind of on OnlyFans, you're kind of selling your items.
Well, it's like an auction house.
Yeah, this is where you just show your naked body and stuff.
Mhm.
So, Yeah. Somebody got that somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah.
Yeah. It was funny.
I just looked up the Dragon's Lair trilogy on Steam.
Yeah.
You can get Dragon's Lair, Space Ace, and
Yeah, I
Dragon's Lair 2 Time Warp.
It's a package.
For $20.97.
My son shared his library with me on Steam like years ago, and so now everything he owns I can play.
Yep. Yep. My
Um,
daughter did the same thing with me. Her and I are hooked up through
now
the
I
same
know Joe tried to
air
do that at
electric.
one point, but it
Yeah,
didn't
well,
work.
I got my wife hooked up into that,
But
so
I
if
think
I buy a game, she can play it too.
it's location driven though. If you're not in the
Yeah,
same like area, it doesn't work. So that's why I could do it with my
I
well,
son.
don't.
no,
I don't know. No,
no,
because
it's more because
Kayla
you're
lives
already
in.
part of a family thing.
Yeah, Kayla lives a ways from me, and her and I
It's
are part of
because
it.
you're already part of a family group.
Yeah,
You
that's
can't be
probably
more.
it.
You can't be in more than one family group. I figured it out.
I didn't even notice that Ashley said Melina. Melina was one of my characters on Mortal Kombat 2 because you could spam a lot of shit with her too. She was fun, and her finishing move was easy. I don't remember what it was now off the top of my head, where she would eat
Well,
all.
that game got a little. I mean, you had fatalities, babalities,
Friendships.
yeah,
Two
friendship,
different types of fatalities, a friendship and a babality. Well, babalities, I don't know. Babalities might have been 3 when that came out.
and then the animalities.
Oh, that was that 3
I
animalities?
think those were all in three. The babality and the animality were in three.
Melina wins.
You
Friendship.
know?
Friendship.
But
Is
those
that your best?
those movies kind of suck too.
I liked the first Mortal Kombat. I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, they could have done better.
Annihilation
Yeah.
was pretty alright. The
was okay.
newest one.
I mean,
That's on
they-
the newest one that was on HBO here recently.
the first one that had what's his name from Highlander playing Raiden.
Oh, playing Raiden. Yeah.
That was really cool. I thought he was the best Raiden that I saw. I've seen like 3 or 4 of those movies.
Christopher Lambert.
The newest
Yeah.
one.
I was searching for his name.
It was Christopher Lambert.
Yeah, Christopher Lambert.
No. He played
No,
the Highlander
no,
on TV.
Yeah,
No,
the series.
no.
Yeah, no,
Christopher Lambert did not play the Highlander on TV. He was Connor McLeod in the Highlander movies.
Oh, whatever. All I know is he was from Highlander,
Yes, he played. He was
but I always watched the TV series.
he was McLeod in the movies, and he played Raiden on the very first
Yeah,
Mortal Kombat movie.
I guess you're right.
He was also in a movie called Night Moves, and it was actually a pretty damn good movie.
Working on the night moon. Sorry, Bob Seger moment.
hmm
Yeah. Hey, what's that
Yeah.
that game that it's a fighting game. It's newer. It's got the different chicks and dudes. You got Tina, who's the wrestler, and then her dad's also in it. He's a wrestler. And Square Enix is behind making it.
I'm not sure.
Well-
I'm not up on the newer ones. I mean, I played a lot of them back in the day because they came out with them left and right.
Well,
I
yeah.
even played some dumb game called Clay Fighter, and I loved it.
Oh yeah, I love Clay Fighter.
Round
Fighter.
1.
Yeah, Clay Fighter 1 and 2. They also came out with that,
Director's cut.
They also came out with the
Clay Fighter Director's cut.
what was the TV series that had claymation? They were like
Oh,
Steven
Deathmatch.
Tyler
Celebrity
versus-
Deathmatch.
Celebrity
They
Deathmatch.
had
Yeah.
a video game based on that as well.
Yep. Yeah, I played that too. I mean, I played a lot. I mean, Tekken, like all those. Like,
Well, on Street Fighter, you also had Chun Li. Don't forget her.
And then you had the Double Dragon series.
Yep.
there was one
And then you
fighter
had Final
game.
Fight.
It was all women in it, and their boobs had the jiggle to them when they would like, even when they're standing there in the opening screen, they're just like,
Sounds like Tom's talking about one of the adult games on Steam.
No, it was on PlayStation I think it was PlayStation. I can't remember the name.
And then that game, the fighting game I'm trying to think of too. They it's pissed me off because I should know it. They did make a movie of it, and they also did another version of that game where it was just like beach volleyball.
That might have been
Wow.
the one I was talking about. I'm trying to figure it out.
It's gonna drive me nuts. That pisses me off.
Well,
But-
I don't know how far more nuts you can get. You're beyond nuts.
I'm fairly nutty as it is.
Nutty as a fruitcake.
No, I'm nuttier than a fruitcake. I'm like an almond tree
Well, there you go.
or a pecan tree.
Let's see.
Man, you're as nutty as a pecan
Well,
tree.
that doesn't sound like anything.
I know, man.
That one doesn't sound like anything I played.
It was a game. I'll find the name of it.
It's
gotta be
driving me
there somewhere.
crazy. It's and Square Enix was behind making it too.
Well, that's why.
Why is it bothering me?
Because Square Enix came up with Final Fantasy, and the more they got into better graphics, you had the female characters wearing less
I'm
and
pretty
less
sure Square Enix was
the more
behind it.
that thing went on. Well, Square Enix has been behind Final Fantasy for years. And then the only thing they compared to Final Fantasy back in the day was Fantasy Star on the Sega Master System.
Let's see, maybe.
Dead or Alive.
Yes, I knew their Dead was in there somewhere.
Dead or
I knew
Alive.
I knew I'd figure it out.
That's got to be it. Yeah.
Yeah, Dead or Alive. They made a lot of those.
Did they?
Well, see, those people have problems too.
Dude, you can get them on fucking Steam, man. They
Really?
got all the way up Dead or Alive 6.
Holy shit!
Yeah, I only played like the first one or two, maybe.
Yeah, I had it for my Xbox.
I don't know. You've had just about as many of those game systems as I've had. You don't have yours anymore, but I still.
No,
do.
I don't.
I would still have my Super Nintendo, but
This
my
this
ex-friend
closet
took it and then he
behind me
died.
is got about 3 or 4 boxes of PlayStation 1 and 2 games.
I still have my PS2.
And I forgot the
it's in my closet.
Xbox, and the Xbox 360 games are also in there.
I have
Okay,
my
I was wrong.
PS2.
I was wrong. I guess Square Enix isn't behind it. It's Koei Tecmo Games Limited.
Oh, okay. The people that came out with Tecmo Bowl and all that.
The only thing I'm missing,
KOEI Tecmo franchises.
the only thing I'm missing got stolen from me.
Your virginity.
No, my PS3.
His penis 3.
I have my penis too. It's in my closet, and I do have the Xbox 360 still somewhere, and I do have some games for it. But I didn't get many
The
for it.
penis 2 was the detachable unit.
I got
Yeah.
I got the Xbox.
Was that ordered special that way, Tom?
Yeah, well, I mean,
Which
without
one?
the extra pack that makes it vibrate.
Hey, Which one is the Mountain Dew version of the Xbox? Is that the
That
original?
was the original Xbox.
So I got the Mountain Dew version of the original Xbox. I've got 360, and I've got 2 Xbox Ones.
I never got that far with it. I
I've
only got
got
the 360 so I could play games with my son and get closer to him.
I've got PS2, PS1, PS2, and the PS3. My wife's got hers still. Mine was stolen. And I've got the Dreamcast.
That game that I was talking about, that Dead or Alive, that was on the PS1. I remember that because we played it at my buddy Pete's house, and that was a place we went to smoke weed and play a lot of video games.
Oh yeah, I've got the GameCube as well.
GameCube is fun.
I've got 2 of those. Oh, and the Wii.
And that was also where I got.
Well, if you got a Wii,
introduced to
just get up
Twisted.
and go.
Yeah, it's over
Ha
there.
ha 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 ha.
Um,
That was a
yeah,
kind of a funny name for a video game system, though.
Wee!
I'm playing with my Wii.
Wee!
And look, I got my Me. It's my Wii Me.
That when you say it like that, Mark, that reminds me of that website, AmishDonkey.com.
Oh God.
Wii.
Yeah,
Wee.
and you called me crazy and sick for some of the fucking sites I went to.
Hey, but that was clearly
AmishDonkey.com. AmishDonkey.com was
It
really
never
fucked
had
up.
anything as disgusting as the one site you went to.
Hey, it's not my fault that site posted everything. And it did. It posted everything. There was a fucking video on there that was done in Thailand or something.
2 girls, 1 cup.
This dude. Okay, have you ever seen the fucking traffic in the streets of like Thailand and some of those places over there?
Yeah.
Just they're like all jam packed. Well, they were on a street cam. This was a video from a street cam. This dude's on this moped thing with his girlfriend on the back, and there's a freaking dump truck behind him. And he hits this bump, and he's cruising along pretty hard. He hits this bump, and his girlfriend falls off in front of the dump truck, and the dump truck runs her head over.
Oh, no. And then they pan to the back of his shirt, and it says, if you can read this, the bitch fell off. Sorry, I didn't mean that. That was important.
No, if you can read this, the twat waffle's a waffle.
But
now.
you know, he used to look at the site, and he lived on Silver.
It
and
was
when you
called
went-
Consumption Junction.
Yeah.
and-
It's not
there
out
was also-
there anymore.
There was also Rotten.com, I think it was, too. That was-
So I went over to his house on Silver, and he's like, "Oh, he's in the basement." So you go down the basement stairs, and I learned, hey, to yell down there, to make sure he wasn't watching one of those sites because some of that shit was disgusting.
Consumption Junction had some pretty fucked up stuff on it.
See, I'm not the only one that fucking would watch it.
It was one of the sites that I used to when I first started working at Burpee, when I had nothing to do and they weren't monitoring our internet. Like, you know, like I used to go there. I'd go to Rotten.com. I had Napster on there. I would download songs and then
shit.
burn
Am
the
I,
CD.
but am I wrong? Am I
You had
wrong? about
Napster,
Consumption
eMule,
Junction?
eDonkey. You had so many peer-to-peer file sharing.
Dude,
programs.
eDonkey was fucked up. You had to watch what you downloaded on that.
I know,
fucker. You
but
got
I'm just
shit
saying.
that you could have got. There was shit on that one. If you downloaded the wrong stuff, you could have went to prison if you got caught with it.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just saying there was.
That was fucked up. That was a fucked up site, mister. You fucking sent me to a fucked up site.
You know, those.
That was even more fucked up than the site I was on, Consumption Junction.
You know, but you know, it all started with Napster.
Yeah. And
That
then,
whole
and then
thing.
Lars Ulrich had to go, you really can't do that. And, you're taking money away from us. Shut up. You have millions of dollars, dude. Shut the fuck
You know, that's how I ended up with like, I don't know how many thousands of MP3s on my hard drives.
I had so many. I used to go on a webcam program. I can't, for the life of me, I can't remember what it was called. But it was like community kind of thing where like only one person could be uh, in control of the sound at one point, but like you could see everybody's webcams that you wanted to, but you could only hear one person at a time. And we would go on there, and one of us would take turns being like a DJ and stuff. I'd be on there for hours playing like my entire playlist, and I'd just be like, whatever, man. And I'd be sitting there drinking. They made fun of me because they really wish they would have been recording at one point, because the computer chair I had at the time was missing a wheel in the back. and I laughed at something while I was drinking, and I went backwards. They said, we saw your face and then your feet. Because back then it wasn't like as streaming as it is now, like
Right.
it's like they were all cracking up. I'm like, yeah, I'm glad you found that funny. I almost broke my damn neck here. But oh man, I can't remember the name of that service.
But back before
Now
the
talk.
World Wide Web, though, and there was the bulletin boards, file sharing was a lot more difficult. It was also going to take you a lot longer because
Oh yeah, on the 56K.
Well, dial-up
Work.
modems weren't that fast to begin with.
Actually, 56K was where it was at its peak. So when it
Yeah.
first came out, it was like 14 point something, wasn't it?
No, 2600.
2600.
2600
What's up, Carmen?
Or no, they were even smaller than that. I think they went down to 1900 when they
I
started.
could have swore it was
don't know.
14 point something when they first started.
Anyway, they were very small modems and stuff like that. But the bulletin boards, some of those files that you get from there, they were dangerous as well. But
I couldn't even imagine how long it would have taken to download a song from there, because back then,
hours,
just to load a
days.
JPEG took half an hour.
Yeah, it takes data.
It was line by line. Like,
but think about it. You've got the small modems, or the 50. Let's say just the 56K.
yeah,
All right, for example,
AOL.
you could get, if you were part of these bulletin boards, the real trusted ones, and I was on a couple of them like that. You could get full operating systems with the key code and everything, but it'd take you maybe a day or two to download it all.
Yeah, at least. At least.
I mean, you could do the Napster thing and download videos, but back then they would still take you forever to download just a simple music video. You got mail.
This is how we signed on back in the day, kiddies.
Yeah, through AOL.
Yep. And if somebody downstairs picked up the phone,
CompUS, what was it?
All right, turn it off.
There was like three major ones. AOL was the biggest. I had probably I had probably a couple of hundred AOL discs, because they used to send them in the mail free
Oh yeah.
to everybody. The 3.5-inch floppy disk. And it's like, huh. And I'm like, I'm on a different one called Earthlink, or
Yeah.
I don't know
or
if that
some other
draws up
place.
good memories or if that fucking makes nightmares.
What does the
Sound.
sound? Yeah. Nightmares.
But I remember when we used to do that, when we used to do the dial-up, and we were all ready for it, man. We'd sit there and wait for that, wait patiently.
File's done. I forgot about that one. You got pictures. That was like towards the end,
You got mail. Hey, I got mail. Yay!
I got mail. Yay! I got mail. I got mail. I got mail. Yay!
You got mail. I got mail.
I got mail. I peed in your pool.
Well, special ed from Crank
Anchors.
Crank Acres.
I peed in your pool. I'm sorry. Yay! I peed in your pool. Yay! I'm going to Hawaii. Yay!
Look, the water just turned yellow.
I'm sorry. Yay! I'm sorry. Yay! I got that voice down back when I was watching. I was like, yeah, I like that. I'm gonna have to try that out.
Well,
Yay! I got mail.
before Crank Yankers, there was the Jerky Boys.
Yep. Get Brett Weir, I said. You know who this is. This is
That
Frank
is-
Rizzo.
I loved listening to those. They had cassette tapes, but the movie was hilarious. And then the one time I saw them, they were filming, and they were like above or in the same building that the MTV studio was in. And they were calling like they were something. Oh, and they called a payphone down on the street corner. Man, those guys, and it was just two guys doing all those voices.
My name is
Frank
Dargla,
Yankers.
the Egyptian magician.
Or when they called the emergency room of some Catholic hospital and said that the guy said, I lost my penis, is it there? And then he called, and the other one called, and he's like, something about he had something in his ass or something, and it hurt, and she's like, please,
In your ass?
and she's like, she was like a nun or something. She's like, please refrain from using that language. Please use the proper terminology.
And Saul
Hey, is Kate
Rosenberg.
still on?
Kate, if you hear
those guys were a laugh riot.
my name is Saul Rosenberg, and I can't see so good. God damn it!
Saul Rosenberg.
Yeah, I went to the Empire State Building, and I'll bring all my glasses and my
Let's
shoes,
guess the picture.
so I have them. That
Nicholas Coppola.
could be. That could be.
Yeah. Yeah. Also known as?
That's Nick.
Nicolas
That's
Cage.
Kate's favorite actor right there.
Yes, it is. All known as?
Nicholas Cage.
That's about the same time he did Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and he did uncredited
Valley
for
Girl.
that. Or Valley Girl too.
Yep. Fast Times at Ridgemont High was the first role. Valley Girl was the next one.
Yeah,
Valley Girl
because
came out
he was.
after.
I don't think he wasn't even credited as Nicolas Cage. He was
No.
He was
Yeah.
credited as Nicholas
Coppola in Fast Times,
In Fast Times, yes. In
and
Fast
he had a
Times,
very
Nicholas
small
Coppola.
part. He was like one of Judge
We don't want to
Hirsch's
talk about
little
his small part.
flunkies.
He had a very small
Or
part.
not
I know. I saw it.
The
Yeah,
one
very
that-
small. Very, very small. About the size of a rice.
Like from the last knuckle of the pinky up. That's about.
They've been playing a lot of those movies from the '80s lately on one of these channels. Because I
80s.
saw Fast Times on Ridgemont High a couple of times.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
did
I've gone down to my dad's watching that.
Then they did not too long ago they did a John Candy marathon, and
Oh, wow.
they played Brewster's Millions, and it's
Wow.
like, oh my god, I haven't seen that in like 10 or 15 years.
Vote none of the above.
Mm-hmm.
None of the above.
You got 30 days to spend $30 million in order to inherit $300 million.
Right. And you can't have anything to show
You
for
can show
that.
for it. You can't give some bimbo a Hope Diamond, and you can't destroy anything inherently valuable. And you're like, how is he going to do it?
He
You
did
know.
it. Spoiler alert.
But Richard, that was a remake, believe it or not.
Really?
Yep. Because the original was like in black and white, and the original was like 30,000 in order to inherit. It was taken down quite a bit,
Yeah.
But it was
Wow,
black
different
and white,
economy.
and it was set, yeah.
Yes, different economy.
It was like set in the 20s or the 30s or something.
That'd be during the Depression.
But that was like one of those. They played Canadian Bacon. That was the
I
other
kind of
John
remember that
Candy
one.
film.
In the Canadian.
But one of my old Uncle Buck.
Uncle Buck is cool. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is one of my
That
favorites.
was a good one. They had that there too.
And Summer Rental was
Yep.
a good one.
Let's guess the picture.
Oh, that's Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. That was oh man.
About the time he did Pickup Artist with Molly Ringwald.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe before then.
Wasn't he also in
Back to School. was.
Weird Science?
Yeah.
Yes, he played one of the assholes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Could have been from that movie because of the way his hair looked.
That
About
could have
the same.
been. But it looked like he had a little bit of makeup on, which he didn't really. I don't think he really had during the filming. But could have been early on, and they were trying stuff.
Who
Yeah.
knows? Yeah, that one was that brings up his father, where I'll never forget his father being in the ring with Piper, Morton Downey, and because he was like first disc jockey that had a big mouth before Howard Stern.
But is that his father?
Yeah, that's his father.
But how are they both juniors then? If that's his father,
Don't know.
But anyway,
how does that work?
I don't know. Anyway, maybe he took his dad's middle name. I don't know. I don't know how that works. All I know is I'll never forget the fire extinguisher getting put out. Putting out the cigarette in the guy's mouth by Piper. In the middle of the ring. That was like one of those classic.
My grandma used to watch Morton Downey Jr. all the time.
Oh, I couldn't stand him.
She used to that, and then she would also watch the Richard Bay show.
But I did like Howard Stern.
I liked Howard Stern back then, but that was before they had a TV version of the show, and it was just like on the radio. But like it was syndicated. Obviously, he was coming out of New York,
Right?
and at the end of the movie, the Private Parts movie,
Good movie.
the
Let's
celebration,
guess the picture.
the celebration that they're at is the funeral for the Morning Zoo here in Philly. That's Demi Moore.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, and he said it first.
It was the celebration they were having for the Philadelphia zookeeper. They called
G.I.
it
Jane.
John DeBella. Was
No,
the guy.
that wasn't the time for G.I. Jane.
No, it wasn't time for G.I. Jane, but that was one of her good movies that she was in.
There was a movie she was in when she was, I think it was her, when she was very young, and Michael Caine was in it, and he was having an affair
She
with
was part of the
her
Brat
friend.
Pack.
What the hell was the name of that movie?
She was an official part of Brat Pack because of St. Elmo's Fire.
Yeah, but she was only in one of them. Some of them were in a few.
Yeah, it's some of those people that got good. That they did a documentary on. I can't remember where I saw it. It was oh god damn it, the one that was in the Brat Pack, but he was also one of the lead
Andrew
actors.
McCarthy.
Yeah, he did
Andrew
it.
McCarthy.
He did
Andrew
a
McCarthy,
documentary. He did a documentary
Yeah.
on the Brat Pack.
Here's
And
Kate.
have you
missed
ever
it, Kate.
had butter on a Pop-Tart? Yup.
It's so friggin' good. If you never had butter on a Pop-Tart, then I really think you should. Something like that. Family Guy, Have you ever had butter on a Pop-Tart? It's so friggin' good.
Oh, the rebooting one of those too.
King of the Hill. Now I'll tell you what.
It's like And you know, every time I watch that and Hank Hill talks, all I can think of is Tom Anderson.
Yeah, from Beavis and
But
Butthead.
it's about the
He's
same.
a younger Tom Anderson,
Yeah,
pretty much, because
it's
his
about the
wife in that
same
even looked
voice.
like an older version of Peggy.
Yep.
So I really think it's just like different timelines, you know. Now I caught these boys a whacking in my
I mean,
trailer.
I haven't seen any of the newer Beavis and Buttheads yet,
Oh,
but
I haven't either. I tried to watch one time.
I
I'm like,
saw
it's not the
some.
same.
I saw something on Paramount Plus where they looked like they had kids.
Oh God. Yeah, I think I saw something, some clip somewhere that where they were older and Beavis was coming over to see Butthead or
But the
something. Yeah.
first
Are you
time,
talking about Beavis and Butthead New America?
no,
No, this was like
reboot.
They
later.
had kids in that one.
Yeah, but that was the only time you really saw them old.
Well,
That was actually the first
we
time
would
you saw
guess
them old.
that in Beavis and Butthead Do America, when they come across the two older guys, that it's not really them, it's their dads.
Right, but still,
But
that's
yeah,
because you know he once said Mike Judge once said, and he must have somehow figured it out or it came to him, you know. But he once said the reason he quit doing Beavis, you know, doing the whole Beavis and Butthead thing, because he can picture him as stupid young teenagers, and then he can picture them as the old men that were in Do America, but he
mm,
couldn't picture them in between. And what the reboot it looks like is them in between.
huh. That guy is stupid. Damn
So I haven't
it, Beavis.
I haven't looked, you know, I haven't looked at it yet because I was watching other things that I found.
Huh. OnlyFans.
But he made well. He did quite well with King of the Hill, and I forgot, didn't he do something else too in there? Oh,
Maybe.
that's
Let's
Oh,
War
play.
Games.
Let's play.
That's
Name the
Matthew Broderick.
characters and the
That's
movie.
War Games. That's Ali Sheedy and Matthew Broderick.
yeah. Shall we play a
A
game?
game.
How about
I
a
knew. I
nice
knew
game
Joe was
of
going to get it.
chess?
Well, that's because you know back then my Texas Instruments had all the attachments, and it had like a voice synthesizer box, and it sounded
Got
just
attached.
like the one in War Games.
Which also sounds like Stephen Hawking. Well, the way he used to sound, anyway. He doesn't sound that way anymore.
No, not anymore.
No.
Now he's really quiet.
Yeah, but
Yeah, yeah. I haven't heard
you
anything from him
imagine
for a
them
while.
doing like uh, uh, James Earl Jones
Okay.
as the computer voice.
Would you like to play a game? Luke, I am
That'd be
player
a
two
problem.
now.
I can't wait for that fucking movie.
Oh,
man.
that's
It
saying
is.
almost fire.
Ready Player 2.
You got Ali Sheedy, Judd
Judd
Nelson,
Nelson, Emilio Estevez, Demi Moore, Rob
Rob
Lowe,
Lowe,
uh, Andrew McCarthy, and
and I
I
can't
don't remember the
the chick's
blonde's name. Yeah. Rob Blow.
Aren't this the original
That's the Brat Pack.
Rat Pack? Yes.
That's the
Yeah.
Brat Pack.
But they still
Finest.
consider like Molly Ringwald to be part of it.
Right.
And,
You got Molly Ringwald and
Anthony Michael Hall.
Anthony
Hang on a second.
Michael Hall.
I'll tell you
But
who.
anybody else is not. They tried to add other people over the years, and it's like no.
Mar Wingham.
Those are
That was
the original
that's your
Brat
blonde.
Pack plus
That was-
Anthony Michael Hall and
Right. It's Ali Sheedy, Judd Nelson, Emilio Estevez, Demi Moore, Mar Winningham, Rob Lau, and Andrew McCarthy. That's who was in
Ra
that.
Blow.
you know, but people because of Charlie Sheen being in Ferris Bueller and Matthew Broderick. They that no, it don't work that way.
Well, technically, I guess you could say the Brat Pack started because I think 16 Candles was before all that shit. So, and
Breakfast
that's the
Club.
Breakfast Club, yeah.
It
But I
was
think 16 Candles was before that.
Anthony
And that had
Michael
Anthony Michael
Hall,
Hall
Molly
and Molly.
Ringwald, Ali Sheedy, Emilio Estevez, and Judd Nelson.
But 16 Candles had Anthony Michael Hall and Molly Ringwald in it.
Right.
And it
right.
also had John Cusack and Joan Cusack.
Yeah, and they've tried to add them as part of the
So
Brat
technically,
Pack.
they were part of the Brat Pack.
But the Brat Pack,
Right, the Cusacks actually were supposed to be part of them too.
but it originated.
Joan aged horrible.
According to what's his name's documentary, it originated because it's all started because of what they were calling them
Brats.
St. Elmo's Fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
We have been
Hello,
blessed.
Nick.
We have been blessed with the worst player in Minecraft.
What was that? The worst player in Minecraft? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
What he means by he's the worst player to be on time, but is still the number one best.
All right,
player
Nick,
in
have you
Minecraft.
went to see the movie then?
Just learned how to craft a pickaxe 2 weeks ago after playing it longer than I have.
Has he gotten out of the Obsidian prison yet?
Yep.
Yeah,
I received bail, so I'm out.
We moved to a different world and started over because
Did you make a prison for him though?
Not yet. It's coming, but not yet.
I was actually gonna be the one that was going to build the prison.
We
So
got a new world
Nick?
where it's a realm, so it's online all the time for all of them, so that they can go on anytime they want.
I'm doing good. How about you, Joe?
Not too bad. Short
Stephanie,
circuit.
nice.
Johnny Five.
color, nice software.
Johnny Five.
Oh,
is
disassemble.
alive.
No, that's a symbol. Johnny
That's
Five is
Ali
alive.
Sheedy again.
You ratted on your friends, Johnny.
So how
When
was
you do
your
that, you
trip?
ain't got no friends. You got nobody. Sorry.
Looked like you had fun.
Oh, at Paris? Yeah, it was
I'll be
a
right back.
lot of fun. We had a really good time. I went.
Where was that?
That was
Thanks for the warning there.
the Ohio State Reformatory.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, we had a really good time. Understandably, once again, we didn't take part in the investigation because one, it was expensive as hell. I mean, it was like
I noticed. I looked, and it's like, wow.
it was $230 just for a few hours, which that just seems like
What?
yeah,
That's ridiculous, dude.
yeah, that just seemed like a complete ripoff. And secondly,
Yeah, I agree. That's kind of a ripoff.
I mean, unfortunately, the reality is there were people out there who were willing to pay that price because it was one of those investigations that you got to investigate with all the big names. And there's not even a guarantee that they're even going to be there for the entire night. I actually remember last year when we went to Parasitecon, if you guys know Mike Ricksecker and Brian J. Cano from Paranormal Caught on Camera, they left like around 2:00 in the morning. So they didn't even stay for the entire thing. But not only that, when you have people that pay for that kind of price, then you got all these loads of people that come into a location like that, and it just causes too much interference then.
That's what I was saying. I went to that the last time I was in Chicago. I went to that paranormal meet and greet,
Yeah.
and we were in that hotel at the one end or the not hotel. It was a bar at the one end of Archer Avenue where right across the street used to be the ballroom, and
That's
it
correct.
has tunnels, and one of the tunnels goes up behind it and went up to what they were called incinerators up there and stuff like that. All right. Well, they did like an investigation of that, and it was like I was telling Mark, it's like there was no way. I mean, you go up there and all these people up in this small little area, anything you get is going to be contaminated.
I also
by the
think
noise
gonorrhea.
that people were making, or
See, I always say for the longest time, I mean, while I am willing to do some public investigations, provided that there's really
Well, that was all free,
Yeah.
so you know.
well, and the only that, but if they're like small groups, I'm willing to tolerate it. But the other problem is too is I always describe those really large ones as the one type of investigation where you get the most arguments from everybody, because obviously you get a lot of newcomers that are just starting into getting involved in investigating, and the slightest sound or anything, people say, "Oh my God, that happened. That's
Yeah,
paranormal."
there
You would
was
say,
there was a guy like that that we went to. He was a little bit out of control.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
basically that's the one thing that really happens is you have someone who will just jump right to conclusions before you can say no, it's actually this, but they just want to stand by their
Well,
word, and it
that's-
starts these arguments, and it spoils the investigation. Then
But for me, because they were given a tour, and the guy that gave the tour, I can't remember his name.
Tour guy.
Well, he was anyway. Nick would know who he is because I think you got a picture with him someplace else.
yeah, I think I know who you're talking about though.
Anyway, I learned a lot of history about the start of Resurrection Mary's journey because it started right at that end of Archer Avenue.
That's correct. Yeah,
You know, and then there was a little bit of Al Capone history there too in the mafia because of the tunnel that went up to the incinerator.
yep.
You know, and,
I
and the
just
top
no, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
top two floors were kind of like, and I said it too while I was there. It says, "Oh, this kind of reminds me of Shakers in Milwaukee." It's like there's a bar that used to be a speakeasy down here, you know, and then the top two floors were like a brothel.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
which was typical with a lot of those kind of buildings throughout Chicago and the outer skirts of the city back.
That's right, because there are a bunch of whores out there in Illinois.
I did. One other thing too about like when it comes to those locations, and also again these public investigations too, what makes them also kind of difficult is, I don't know if I ever told you guys this, but about 6 years ago, it was 6. It was right before COVID. I was actually helping out with Ursula Bielski with one of her tours. In fact, I actually spoke a little bit on the tour bus, to kind of, because Ursula relied, with my knowledge of history and haunting, she relied on part of that to me. But we went to this one area, was like, it probably wasn't too far actually from the Illinois-Wisconsin border. I just can't remember exactly which location it was. Hopefully I'll get the name soon. But anyways, we went out to this. It was kind of like a field, and there was supposedly there was the remains of a noose that was still in existence. Who's that?
Is that Gina Davis?
Nope.
No. Well, I can't tell who the hell that is.
I have no clue. She looks familiar.
I have no idea.
Yes,
who
I
she is.
stumped your asses.
Yeah, on that one, yeah.
All right.
Could
She
be the
looks
picture.
familiar, but
Think-
I just.
Think Stifler's mom.
Oh, no way.
Oh my God! No way!
I didn't even know she was acting back then.
Yes, as Jennifer Coolidge at the age of 21.
Wow. Check that out.
That makes me want a hot dog real bad.
But anyways, yeah, we went to
There's a whole new meaning to the word Stifler's mom.
No shit.
I'm in love with Stifler.
I'll never be able to watch that movie again.
But anyways, we went out to this field and we saw this tree that was supposedly had the remains of like some noose or something like that. But as we're walking over like to this tree, there were some guests that we had from the bus. I couldn't help but overhear them say, like, they were saying things like, we really paid all this money for this. We haven't even haven't seen any ghosts or experienced anything
You
paranormal.
can't guarantee that shit.
Exactly. And you know what? I know like any
Unless you
type of,
stage it.
yeah, I mean, I know like any type of tour group or anything whatsoever. I know we're not supposed to treat, our visitors, negatively, but I'm not going to lie. I was almost ready to just turn around and say, all right, well, if you're not, okay, well, there's no guarantees. And if you're not happy with it, then why don't you go stay on the bus and wait for the rest of us?
I mean, you're not getting your money
really
back
want-
either way.
Huh?
But you're not getting your money back either way. I mean,
Yeah, you're not getting your
Yeah,
money back.
and
No.
some of these places, I know there's one in particular in Wisconsin, and people make a big deal out of it.
it's a
Yeah,
cheese
it's
factory.
supposedly haunted, but it seems like every time somebody goes there and they've got something going on, because I noticed somebody posted something about it. But
Right.
they charge a lot of money.
Well, this tour
And-
we ran
and
a
it's
few
like-
years ago.
This place is just a fucking bar that's been around for fucking ever.
Yeah.
And
Well, this tour too. I mean, it wasn't even that expensive, I recall.
So you guys have done private investigations?
yeah,
we done a
Before?
couple.
So I got to ask, was it a male or a female? Because that makes all the difference in the
We
world.
have done. I will say I've saw dirtly. Jeez, I cannot talk today.
Dirtly, dirt.
he's tongue tied.
The dirt.
Dirtly, dirt.
Wasn't there someone that talked like that sometimes?
I'm sure there's plenty of
I
people
thought there
that
was.
talk
I'm trying to think of who, but anyways, I certainly have done an investigation in your castle, Tom, in Minecraft.
Well, hey, we haven't been to my. Well, I mean, I guess what we have now could be considered a castle. I guess
Well, a
more
sort
of its own
castle.
mansion.
A
The
man.
castle is in Pickle World. We haven't been to there.
Yeah,
in
see, I
forever.
still I tried to play that, and I still can't get into it.
It's tough. Like, I mean, it helps that I watched my son play it for a long time when he was younger, and he used to come over here in this very room actually, and he would play it on the TV that's still up there right now, and we would I would watch him play it for well, Christ, that's Marty McFly and his mom.
Yeah, Marty McFly.
Yeah, who played Marty McFly?
Michael J.
Fox.
Fox.
Yep.
I just saw a meme.
And who's that next to him?
I don't
Lorraine.
know.
That's
Lorraine. I
yeah.
can't remember the actress.
That's who am I thinking of? Oh my God, it's like right in front of me.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it is.
I'm trying to
Yep,
remember her
that's
name.
right there. It's on your screen.
Is it on the screen?
Yeah, it's on the screen right now.
Oh, I thought you said her name was.
No.
Actually,
wait, no,
yes,
it just came
Her
back.
name is.
Oh, Leah
Her
Thompson.
name is.
Yes.
Yeah, it's right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Her name is on the screen.
Where?
I did not even see that.
See where my cursor's at? I
No.
don't know. Wait a minute.
No, see, I'm sitting
No, you don't
on the
see my
couch
cursor.
and the
Here.
laptop's on the table.
See
So
where
now
my
I see her.
cursor's
Oh, yeah.
yep, now I can see it.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe that like in his mid-20s when he's still he looks 10
Oh.
years younger.
I saw a meme earlier. It was a picture and it says, "I finally got Michael J. Fox's autograph," and it's just a bunch of wild scribbles all over.
That is so fucking messed up, dude.
Yeah, it really is.
That is beyond messed up.
It really is. Like, jeez.
I mean,
Wow.
you
I
laugh.
mean,
but-
he's like another one that got
No, I'm
taken
not
too
because
early.
of
That
Hey, I got a
I
brother.
Because
I
of
got
his
a brother
condition.
who has.
That's how you described it, though.
yeah, it's it was the presentation that made it funny. It was, but yeah.
you
I
know,
would assume they do the same with Tim
did you
Curry.
It's-
see
it's
did
just
you
too
see the
bad
picture
he's
I
dead.
had for you?
what happened to him, because he was another one of those that was extremely talented, and God knows what kind of movies he could have come up with.
Yeah.
You know,
So-
I mean, he
Did
did
Kate-
like Doc Hollywood
did Kate see
and
the picture I
you know
brought
all
up
three of
for
the
her?
Back to the Future,
Oh, she didn't see the Nick.
Secret of My Success.
Oh, that sucks.
You know,
You'd have
that
to
one
get
was
back.
funny because he got caught doing his aunt.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
but he
Oh,
really
the-
wanted
the
to be with
Secret of My
Conster.
Success.
Yep.
But she wasn't a blood aunt.
No, Just
Remember
by
that.
marriage.
She was not a blood aunt, just by marriage. And he even
he really
pointed
wanted
that
to be
out.
with the
She
blonde chick.
pointed that out to him, though.
Which was with his uncle.
Yes.
I forget what the uncle character's name was.
Poof whip.
It's been a while
Whip.
since I saw that one.
Kate, I was actually, you know what? Since she said that, I was actually once again working with Koof Whip earlier today. I'm not gonna. You know what? I gotta just say real.
Really?
I think I already told you this, Tom. But there was one. There was one day that I was at work. A customer came up and she was asking me about Cool Whip, and I literally almost said, "Oh, so Koof Whip is."
Whip.
I honestly wish I could have said that just to
Why
see
are
the
you
reaction
saying
of
it
that
that
customer's face.
Why are you putting so much emphasis on the H?
Yeah, I can already see her say it was a woman. I can already see her thinking
That's
thinking
an aisle
probably
2.
saying the same thing. Why are you putting so much emphasis on the H?
Damn you, you vile woman! The Cool Whip is an aisle 3.
It probably would have taken quite a while.
A while.
Quite a while.
That was a Meg thing. A
That was
while.
big. And let's not forget, I mean, even Hank Hill basically put too much emphasis on the H. Now I'll tell you what.
What?
What?
We were just talking about them a little while ago.
Yeah. You
About
know
how
what?
they're redoing it.
Yeah, that's what I heard. You know what, Kate? I do have a GoPro. Just
You
haven't
have a
really
GoPro?
used it yet.
It seems like with all the memes out there, they're getting ready to do a live action Beavis and Butthead.
Oh God!
Did you see that thing they did on
That would
Saturday Night
be
Live?
A live
Yeah,
action.
but ever since then that they did that little bit on Saturday Night Live,
Yeah.
there's been so many different IA images of like a real life Beavis and Butthead with other actors.
I've seen that actually.
And I see so much of that, and some of them are just too fucking funny.
You're getting them fired,
An
Kate.
actual live action Beavis and Butthead movie that would be definitely interesting. I just can't think of who.
What the
Well,
hell
we
is
already
wrong
know
with you?
Tom can play Butthead. We already know that.
Damn it, Beavis! What the hell is wrong with you? You look weird.
At least he could do the voice.
I mean, you look weird too. I mean,
Well,
I'll tell you what. Oh my God! It's
Well, you know what would be great too, and Tom, I know you would love
Mr.
this.
Anderson.
Is if you had a live action Rick and Morty.
well, they were talking about doing that at one point.
We already had a live action Rick and Morty. It's called Back to the Future.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, but that was
Because-
before Rick and Morty.
They did do real life version commercial
Yeah.
with Rick and Morty, and Christopher Lloyd
With Christopher Lloyd, I've
actually-
seen that one.
was actually Rick.
That was great. Tom's wearing.
Morty, yeah.
Tom's wearing a signature. This is Tom's hoodie. Kate is saying.
Well, no, it's my the one with this the little skeleton skull thing. It's what I wore to work today, man, because it was actually unseasonably cold here. It was like 48 degrees this morning.
Oh, speaking of cold,
like that
oh
over
my
here, too.
God.
Yeah, it was cool this morning too.
Last night, I woke up feeling like
You woke up?
I
From a horrible
no,
dream.
I woke
Finally.
up at like 2-3 o'clock this morning feeling like ice. You know, my hands were
Ah.
literally like ice.
Regulators.
Young Guns.
Yeah.
That's Emilio Estevez, Lou Diamond Phillips.
Charlie Sheen
I was gonna say, I thought I
and
was wondering if that
Kiefer,
was Charlie Sheen.
Kiefer Sutherland,
Yeah.
not Tommy Kiefer. That's the lead singer of Cinderella.
Yep. Yep, there you go.
That was the original Young Guns.
But
I
woke
actually
up-
like Young Guns 2 better.
I woke up and it was like almost 50 degrees in the house last night because it was so
Yeah.
cold outside.
Yeah, it was.
And you know why? You know why? I got up and it's like up the
Gotta pee.
thermostat on our wall is battery powered. So the AA batteries were dead.
Wow.
So the heat never came on all fucking night. And
I
until
prefer
I
it
got
that way.
up and it's like I'm sitting here. Oh man, it was a bad day.
I want my room
That's-
freezing cold so that I can just put the comforter over me and I'm good.
That's that's what it was kind of like for me because
with the fan
Okay,
on.
so I know this is going to sound a little crazy, but like when I go to sleep at night, or even during the day,
That's like my wife can do that with a
This
fan
one
on
might-
and
This
sometime
one
it
might
jet-
stump you guys.
All year.
But
all
she's
year.
like a walking.
Kate.
This
she's
one
like
might
a
stump
walking
you guys. Now
furnace.
you'll probably get the people right.
Boy, Kate.
I'm not certain if you guys will know the movie it's from.
You know what? I don't like stairs. They're always up. So, you know, I got a little joke for that too, Kate. I know you'll like this too. And it's also paranormal themed. I just had a friend of mine who supposedly started
Oh,
dating.
Outsiders.
Oh, Outsiders. Wow.
Ralph
Awesome,
Macchio.
See Thomas
Bill
Howell,
Sowell.
Tom Cruise.
That's Tom Cruise.
Right? Yeah. Here, I'll
Yeah,
show
on
you.
the
Wow,
right.
he was
Rob
young.
Lowe.
Right here. This
yeah,
is
he
Tom
was
Cruise.
young.
Rob Lowe.
This is Ralph Macchio. That's Rob Lowe up there. See Thomas Howell there. Patrick Swayze, Matt Dillon, and
Matt Dillon.
Emilio Estevez.
Wow.
And James Arnett says Matt Dillon. Oh, that's a different show.
But Leif Garrett did not Leif Garrett play one of the preps?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Science. Kate's like,
And
wow,
you know the coolest,
really-
the cool thing is, I actually have the director's cut of that movie.
Wow.
And you can go to the house to this day. I think they
There it goes
redid
again.
it
Oh.
to make it. They redid the house to make it look.
Hey,
the way it did.
where'd Joe go?
He's there. He's in the studio. There he is. I gotta say,
I don't
what
know.
Kate
Something
said-
happened where like
It kicked you?
yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Damn it! You gotta stop going through those portals.
oh, jeez, Rick, you gotta teach me how to use the portal gun.
Yeah, you know what? I'm never going to show you how to use the portal gun because you can't be trusted. I mean, a case in point, the evil Morty.
Speaking of paranormal, on Friday, well, not
The
tomorrow,
evil Morty that
because
took over the Citadel.
tomorrow's too late of a notice
President.
for the dude, but for the guy. But
Mountain Dew.
I'm gonna shoot for next Friday, Nick. If you want to be on our show next Friday, I'm gonna try to get Jack on here.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to. I mean, more than
Because,
happy to.
well, you know him better than I do, but from what I understand, is this paranormal convention that's coming up June 7th in Chicago.
Yes.
Hey, I'm
He
gonna let
does
you
this
guys
thing-
finish. I'm
he-
gonna bail. I gotta use the can and I gotta grab something to eat.
All right, bye.
It's me,
All right, man. Take it easy.
But he does this all by himself.
Yeah, I know he does. Yeah, he
So
puts
I
a
want
lot
to
of
bring
effort.
him on and let him get some props about doing all of this and give him, you know,
So you heard it here first, folks.
'Cause-
Next Friday, Joe is getting his jack on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what were you laughing at, Tom?
Anyway,
It was funny.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy.
this will
To
be this is going to be the third year in a row for us.
Yeah, it will be because we're already planning on attending. And I actually, since Kate is watching, Tom was here to listen to this when they were playing Minecraft last time. I'm actually hoping that we can finally get Kate to come out because this
Well-
would definitely mark her debut for.
Well, it'd be the
Very
first
first
time
character.
I'd meet. It'd be the first time I'd meet Kate in person.
Yeah.
As well, but I've got something special working on for that. Right now, the push bar is off my truck. Okay, you know the push bar, the front
Yeah,
of
the
my
push
truck.
bar.
All right, it's off my truck and it's painted.
Okay.
It's going to be purple.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Now, I've also ordered 2 of them custom decals that look like a badge, like a police badge. And it says Insane Asylum Paranormal Investigators. And they're going to go on the front quarter panels on each side, just like a squad car where they've got that badge right there.
Yeah, yeah.
We should get
And
some
then-
made that look like an old fashioned like Marshall's badge from the westerns too.
I've got one of those. I've got a real Marshall's badge from 18.
While he's searching for Kate, she's asking where it is. it will be in the nearby town of Countryside, not at a convention center. What I'll do is I'll send you the address so you have it.
So I have them. And I'll bring all my glasses and shoes so I have them. So we were talking about the Jerky Boys earlier. So
I thought you said Jersey Boys.
there you go.
Yeah, like one of those type of badges. Yeah.
Yeah, this was a real one from like 1800.
It belonged to a guy named Matt Dillon. He was a
I
marshal.
got it. I got it in the Wisconsin Dells at the last Indian trading post. It's
Well, I imagine you guys can
it's no longer
guys-
like an Indian trading post. It's like a museum and a big swap meet inside. But then I've also
Chicago PD's badge has that style too. It's a star-shaped badge where I mean, like, and I'm not just talking about like what you see on the TV show. That's what they will use in real life.
And besides the Pinkerton being the oldest law
And they're
enforcement,
still around. They're still around.
the other one that's just as old is, and this is from the 1800s as well. That's Wells Fargo.
Oh,
The
Fargo,
Wells Fargo wagon.
Wells,
It's a
Wells Fargo agent badge.
I don't know if the Wells Fargo ones are still around, but the Pinkertons are still active.
Well, yeah.
Also, I wanted to just say that joke for Kate since she said about the stairs, and this is a paranormal joke. I have a friend of mine that supposedly is dating, and she just apparently said she just recently got married to some ghost. I don't know what possessed her. I learned that joke actually several years ago.
I like an escalator.
Lowry.
I like an
David
escalator
Lowry.
because it can never break. It just simply becomes stairs.
But the problem with Pinkerton is, well, I don't know if I should say it, is their pay sucks. For like, all right,
Wow.
I'm working every now and then it pops up on my end because of the Madison Fire Department. And when it does, I share it because I worked there. It was a central storage warehouse. It was a big fire, happened about 30 years ago. Okay. They got away with they got away with not paying me overtime.
Huh.
You know, they found a loophole because I didn't put 40 hours in it at any one given account during the pay week. You know, but I worked, 60 plus hours. I worked 72 hours straight through without sleep.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I worked at Railback, Menards, and the Central Storage Warehouse Fire. I was an on-site supervisor for Pinkerton
Oh my God.
with the rank of sergeant. I
can't even
almost got, and they wanted to promote me to captain and stuff like this, or lieutenant or something, and then captain. And I had majors come up from Rockford, Illinois, and it's like, one, I didn't like the bars. I rather had the sergeant, so I never went beyond the rank of a sergeant. But those sergeant stripes that I earned are on my leather coat.
That's really good. I mean, just the amount of work that was put into
And because they never paid me overtime, I said, I want my sergeant's badge so that nobody else can get it, have it,
there you go.
and have that number. So I have my sergeant's badge. But I
That's
also
awesome.
have a plaque on the wall from Pinkerton because of all the work I did. I was like nominated Officer of the Month. But here's my point. I'm getting paid like minimum wage, right? For a job that I'm protecting billions and billions of dollars worth of whatever, right? I go down to the mall in Milwaukee, the Grand Avenue Mall or whatever it's called. It was a big deal back then. It was like a really big mall to go to. And I see these Pinkerton guards there. One, they're not wearing the polyester shirt or pants.
Oh, really?
They had cotton shirts, and so they didn't have those itchy, and the polyester really. So and they got paid almost twice as much.
Those damn cottoners.
And they also, not only did they get paid twice as much, they were answering to an office that was somewhere else, not in Rockford.
Really? Wow.
So it's like, fuck this.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's like two different pay rates for, you know, but it's all under the same umbrella. And why isn't Milwaukee, even though I was in Madison, why aren't they answering to Rockford?
Right.
No,
What do you want
they
from
answered to somebody in Indiana or some other
Yeah,
state.
it doesn't really make a lot of sense for the most part.
So they got paid a higher rate because their district office was in another state, you know, than Illinois.
Yeah, yeah.
They were in the state of denial.
So- Oh, I thought you were gonna wait, what state?
Well,
Denial.
Ohio?
there was a newspaper thing that came out while I was working with Pinkerton about a guy that robbed a bank. And the picture in the paper looked a lot like me. So the FBI already came and went and stuff like that and cleared me and all
Ew.
this. But shortly after that, because of the conflict I was having with Pinkerton, I had two majors. They came up from Rockford, Illinois, and knocked on my door to talk me out of quitting. I mean, it didn't happen, but they tried everything. Oh, we'll even promote you to captain and stuff like that, and you can run the Madison office. And I'm like, I don't think so. It's not worth the fucking headaches.
Now, if you give me about $200,000 a year,
Yeah, that wasn't going to happen either. You know, plus they were going to put me on salary, and I had already learned my lesson about salary pay.
yeah, I'd been there, done that.
You know, I was never going to go on salary ever again. I did that when I worked in the video business and found out how screwed I got.
I did it when I worked for the
one
Burpee
time.
Seed Company. And they
No.
worked me, man, let me tell you.
Yeah, I can't even imagine the amount of work that's put into this. I hate to cut this short, guys.
Yeah, well, we got to cut it short because our time's up.
Well, yeah, 'cause their show's gonna
I gotta
start.
join Supernatural talk, but
Yeah.
it was good. But yeah, But Joe, like I said, I'll be more than happy to join with you next Friday with Jack.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to try to talk to him next before I go.
he
in.
hasn't been on any of our shows yet, so that's going to make you the first. I mean, at least in association with any of our shows whatsoever. So it's great that we're finally getting him on.
Well, yeah, he took off when I told you that,
Back
I
off.
think. He was at that last thing I was at in that paranormal meetup there in Chicago,
Yep.
and he took a picture of my truck. He was standing next to it, you know, it had the magnets on the door and stuff, and he took a picture, like a selfie, or had somebody take a picture.
One more question I had before I go. Did you know that? I'm sure you know this already, but did you see on the invite that Chad Lewis is going to be back again?
Yeah, and it'll probably be going like this
Hey,
the minute I walk through that door.
Tom.
Yeah. The only thing about him is every time I see him, he like flags me down, you know, come over here, I want to talk to you, you know, type thing. And I go over there and talk to him, and then before we're done, it's like, what's it going to take for me to get you on your show? And he's like, well, just contact me and we'll schedule it. And it's like, I contact him, and it's like it never gets scheduled. I've been trying to get him on my show for years,
I know.
and I'm not going to give up.
Yeah, you just got to keep trying. That's all you can do.
So, well, Chad Lewis is an interesting man, and
Yes.
he's the reason after we did the paranormal thing. He's pretty much the first person, because I went out and got a couple of Chad Lewis books, watched a lot of his videos. He got us started in the locations that we were looking at in Wisconsin.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, He's from Wisconsin, so
Yeah, he's in Wisconsin. I think he now lives more closer to Minnesota, but I know he's still.
yeah, he does. He's over.
Yeah.
He's over in the La Crosse area, right by the Mississippi River.
Yeah, I was going to say he lives right along the border, Wisconsin-Minnesota border.
Yeah, and it's not too far for him to get to Iowa either, where he's.
Yeah, he's in a good spot.
Yeah, because he goes down every year for that Van Meter thing.
Yeah,
in
the Van
Iowa.
Meter Visitor Festival,
Right.
which I don't know if they're having. I'm sure they probably are happening again this year, but I haven't really gotten any details about it.
Oh, when you do or when I do, I'll let you know.
Yeah, more than happy. If you want to go out, I'd be more than happy to as well.
All right, till next week. Thank you all
All right,
for watching.
I got to get on Supernatural Talk, so I'll see some of you guys in the chat. Yeah, I love when Tom does that. See you guys.